Right, today I'm going to be making some quinoa flakes porridge. And the items I'm going to be using are quinoa flakes. I'm going to add little bit of spelt flour, white spelt flour. The reason for adding a little bit of spelt flour is that I find that whenever I am making the quinoa flakes porridge or porridge like teff or amaranth or any one of those porridge, because of the fact that um, these items doesn't really have any kind of starch or anything of that nature inside, they tend to pop out of the pot. So what I tend to do, I put a little bit of spelt flour inside, and that tends to hold it together. So yeah, so that's the reason I put a little bit of spelt flour inside. But the ingredients is I'm going to be using is quinoa flakes. I've got my hemp milk that I've made earlier. That's in another video. I also add some, well, from what I have here is my vanilla pods, which I boiled. I boiled that in that pot there. And I also add some clove. Yeah, I put some clove inside and I boil it in some water that I've already added in the pot. Yes, that's to give it my flavor. My sweetener, what I'm going to use is agave. Yeah, that's a sweetener that comes from a plant. So let's get cracking. So what I've done, I've already had my milk. I've added my boiled the clove and the already got some vanilla pod that I boiled. That's going to give me some flavors. I'm going to add some of this quinoa flakes. Yeah, I know that's going to be a bit thick, so I have to add quite a bit of water. I like to sift the flour just in case, just in case. Alright, and I whisk it. Yeah, you can put in whatever you want to give it flavors. Some people use bay leaf. At the moment, I tend to enjoy it when I put clove, boiled with clove and vanilla. See, those are some of the things that you can use that are recommended by Dr. Sebi that you can use for the flavors, because cinnamon spice and those things you don't use any longer, which is not things that was recommended. The nutmeg and all of that is not recommended by Dr. Sebi, so I tend to only use what is recommended by him, because these things have been tested and proven. So as a result of that, that's the reason why we're getting results whenever we have health issues, or what is helping to give you a more healthier way of life and not encounter health problems as well. Because I have found by using his methods, a lot of problems I used to get in the past, like arthritis, being pre-diabetic, was able to reverse. I even had one point I was speaking, well, I contacted a doctor online, and when I asked the question, can a person kidney function moves from 64 to the 90s, he said, that's not likely to happen. That would be a big jump. And I said, well, that's the results I got after completely changing my life to only eating foods that have been cooked or prepared from scratch, and stop eating the things that they have in the packet that you buy in the shops, and making that conscious move to make sure that I do only eat alkaline foods and drink spring water. And those were the results I was getting. So I was amazed with the results, even so much so that the doctor phoned me and asked me, and said to me, well, we've noticed some remarkable change in your kidney function. So it's like, right, I know I'm onto something here. And I use with certain herbs that I've been using. That's stories for another day, which I'll speak to you guys about, or those who want to consult with me to find out what I was doing. Yeah, because if I can get those kind of results from using the right foods, it's a clear indication that we can reverse anything with the right nutrition and the right herbs. As it said in the Bible, the herbs shall be for the healing of the nation. So, yes, guys, eat right and you'll be fine. You can reverse anything if you eat right, you drink the right herbs, and you can contact me or let's have a chat. Of course, it may not be for free because this requires a lot of effort, and I've put in the work. So some persons I might be able to help. So yeah, but today I'm going to be having some porridge, which is a quinoa flakes porridge. This is going to start getting thicker in a couple of minutes. So yeah. I do enjoy having some different types of porridge sometimes. Another day I'm going to make amaranth porridge and show you guys, and then another day I'm going to make maybe kamut flour porridge. Another day I'm going to make teff porridge, because all those things different things you can make porridge with. So yeah. So what I ask is that you like, subscribe to the channel, and I'm going to continue to bring you some alkaline foods that you can have a healthy life. Stop having health problems and start living healthy, where you're going to have, because of the fact that you're making the effort. I know it can be challenging to having to cook everything, but hey, if you want the results, you got to put in the work. So, or you will end up at the pharmacy always buying this, buying that, and throughout your life you're just living on tablets. I don't drink any tablets at the moment, none, absolutely no tablet. Any tablets I drink or capsules, because I make it myself. I drink my own stuff because I know what I'm putting inside. Everything I put in my body, I know what I put in my body. I'm not guessing any longer or trying to figure out, oh, what kind of chemical, what's this? I don't know what's the name of this. I have to go and research it online. I don't put in my body these days. Everything. So it's getting thick there. See that? So I'm going to leave that to boil. I boil normally for about 15 minutes. Yeah? Leave it to boil for 15 minutes. And cook it for 15 minutes as a whole, really. And right, so you see that? That's the porridge there. Yeah. Cover it otherwise. Now, if you watch there, you see it's popping there, yeah? That's the reason why it's covered, and I put some spelt flour inside. But if I didn't put any spelt flour, you'd be popping all over, out of the pot. So that's what I normally do. So, right, guys, as I said, that's gonna boil it for 15 minutes, and then I'm gonna add some of this, and that's gonna be my porridge. See you in a bit.